Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. DOM is a little interesting already, isn't it? So if we come over here to our chart, we're still kind of within the range that we've been in for the past 2 days. Here we are on the E-mini. Had a little bit of a run up and it didn't really go far in the E-mini. ZN still kind of the same thing, just in this range that we've been in for quite some time. Although we did eventually move up and we did touch 19. I'm surprised that we're not. Maybe we could distribute a little bit more at the top of this profile. But unless some trend develops very early in the next 30 minutes. That's interesting. OBS is telling me that the coding is overloaded. So maybe you should turn down some of the quality settings. But I think it's fine for now. If you guys have any problems with the stream, the video, just let me know. But I think we're fine. Anyways, I think there is a really good chance that what's going to come out of the FOMC meeting today is going to be hawkish, that we're going to move lower and possibly touch lows of the year today or later this week. But I'm not so sure that there is any reason to really be moving this. So unless I see a really good trend start in the next 30 minutes, I'm probably not going to take any trades until FOMC, and I might not even take any trades at FOMC because even though I think that we're set to be able to go to lows of the year, I don't think that anything that comes out of FOMC is going to be terribly unexpected, and so there's a really good chance that it just comes down and there's a move and it immediately comes back, if it moves at all. So let's see what you guys are saying in Discord today. MRK definitely has potential to run. Because of the lack of up moves in ZB, 05 was actually the average close to high plus 1 standard deviation over the last 20 days of 14 is second sigma. Those are very good things people are pointing out here. FX Market Desk asked me after I left what platform I'm using. I'm using Jigsaw. Sorry, he's probably already gone. Oh, and let's post the links, of course. Duh. So I should also point out, last night I ran out of my multivitamin, and I feel a little magnesium deprived. I know that sounds kind of silly, but it was really hard to fall asleep. So I think the magnesium that's going to affect me. So I've got to be extra cautious about I don't know if that would cause me to make impulsive decisions, but maybe misread things. So I've really got to run through the scenarios, make sure that I'm doing things right. I am seeing right here, if we're at the VWAP, first of all, and no clear trend. So no trade here. If we broke below 16, so there's big order here, then maybe we could push a little bit further. And on the upside, because we've got this 19 to 20 area, I don't really like longs. So that's kind of my look here. Let's see, Uzi is in on time. Good. Good morning. Now this time, make sure you got all your water and everything. You don't want to miss anything cool. Although nothing cool's gonna happen this morning, probably. It's probably gonna be very boring. Very boring trading session. Now let's Donald J. Trump jobless claims fell to their lowest level in 49 years. How would he know that? The jobless claims number doesn't come out until Thursday. Well, today we get some new home sales at the 10 o'clock. Tomorrow's going to be probably a significant day, too, because we get final GDP quarter over quarter. And we got Draghi speaking. Right, so... And then we also get, on Friday, we get, like, core PCE, personal spending, personal income. Right, so some big numbers this week. So that's good. What about Bitcoin? So I keep seeing people come in now talking about Ripple, because Ripple had a really big move earlier in the week where they like doubled in value. Granted, it's still in cents and it's still very, very low compared to where it was, but it has been moving, and it has been moving up in market cap. And I would be extremely, extremely cautious about trying to go along with the momentum on any of those moves. And the reason is this: the cryptocurrency market is still in a bear market. And so any kind of big move up that you have is going to be an opportunity for whales to get out and leave you holding the bag. So I would not be buying Ripple here, even though there is some potential short trades. This is not something that I think that you want to buy and hold for, 3 months, because the chances are that in the next 3 months, Ripple will hit new lows for the year. Because if Bitcoin finally gives up the ghost here, and it's not... I don't know, we had a down day yesterday, we're getting a little bit of a pullback, I don't know. they're just kind of not doing anything with it in Bitcoin. So... I don't think you want to be holding bags right now, especially not something that just doubled for not very good reasons. That's just me. That's my I'm not giving financial advice, but I personally not going to be going into Ripple. That is my view at this time. Bum 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 bum. Probably going to be choppy until the interest rate decision. Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't hardly gotten any volume, huh? And like I said today, we don't really get anything until new home sales. So, and Oh, there we go. Somebody in the political analysis thing has the predicted. Linking us to the predicted thing for Kavanaugh. So I'm trying to read this. What are they giving us? Huh. So it was like 80% likely, and now they're putting it at 10% likely. I think you buy it. Maybe I should be taking a better look at how I come to this conclusion, but it seems to me that it's much more likely that he gets confirmed than they make it out to be, than predicted is giving it credit for. How can I express this numerically, though? Well, one thing was that Rush Limbaugh and then Donald Trump retweeted him saying that, like, if you want to have any chance in the midterms, then you need to confirm Kavanaugh. So I think that's one thing that kind of says to me that they're likely going to try and shove it through anyways. There is this thing with this second accuser going around. Like, at first the GOP was saying that they weren't talking to them, and now they're saying that like the GOP said, oh, we tried calling her and getting in contact with her, and it took us a long time and we couldn't. And then the lawyer said, oh, all we have is like our public statement, and that we're not going to make a statement to the committee. And now they're saying, oh, that they actually held a phone call yesterday, and that only Democrats came, and that they would love to give a statement. So that one's a little contradictory. Kind of sounds like some games going on there, although I don't know who's playing the games. Man, we've just been in this zipper since the open. %. How does this website work? Like, can you let's see. Well, if you try and sign up for their website, the very first thing that happens is they ask you to fund your account. And they ask you for a credit card. Okay. Invested available. Oh, I see. Will the Senate confirm a SCOTUS nominee in September? Well, if in order for this to all go through, it would have to happen before Sunday. And so the chances of that happening are much less. So do they have another one? Do they have one for will he be all yay on Kavanaugh by 1031? Come on. Will Rosenstein be impeached in 2018? So some of the time frames on some of these are not very favorable. So I think there's actually a pretty good chance that maybe a 20-30% chance that Rosenstein will be impeached, but it might not happen in 2018. Dream Act enacted by year-end 2018. Yeah, not gonna happen. Here we go. Kavanaugh next SCOTUS Justice. So that makes a little bit more sense. So maybe that bet's not worth it. Well, actually, I'm not going to say it's not worth it, but there's a reason why the odds are the way that it is. I think it's still worth it a try because I think that they're going to do the hearing on Thursday. They're going to vote on it on Friday and then push it through by Sunday. I think that's what's going to happen. But there's a lot of things that could gum that up, so. This is pretty bad action. In Treasuries, in it. Even in the E-mini, like hardly anything is traded. I guess one thing that we can watch that might be interesting is the open for Nike. I don't think I get stock. Let's look. Okay, so there's the stock. Click OK. Does it actually give me data? Nope, it has the symbol, but it doesn't give me data. See, it's interesting that the predicted markets did turn around on the 23rd in terms of whether or not Kavanaugh will become the next nominee. They just don't think that it's going to happen in September. Let's check. Man. Okay, so they are actually running into a pretty big iceberg at 17. Well, we have a lot of viewers today for what is looking to be like a non-mover. Yeah. Oh, we don't have anybody on Twitch. I feel bad for the people that come in on Twitch because they're not going to be as you know. So not actually. I wonder if I'm having a problem with Twitch because when I go in and I try and watch it, it gives me an error. I wonder if I just come over here and I do this, go to the main machine, it doesn't work. If I go over to here, error code 5000. Yeah, there's something wrong with Twitch. Ah, okay. Max recommended bitrate is 6,000. So is that what's wrong? Do I have my bitrate? Yes, I do. I have my bitrate set too high for Twitch. I know, I can't just change it on the fly, can I? Well, I would have to like start and stop it potentially to make that work, so. Bum, 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 bum. Do we really need to build up the Twitch? Sometimes I wonder, like, I feel like we definitely get more people from YouTube, but I kind of think that if we'd put more effort into the Twitch channel, because there's like a couple of features that they have in Twitch that I think would make this a little bit more fun for you guys. So maybe we need to. One of the things is that you can add stream markers, so we can like point out when we made the trades and stuff. So. So we're going to come down to this big old order I have at 16, or this big order at 16. And I wonder. I wonder if I can do it through Restream. Yes, that is exactly what it was. I should just get the Pro for Restream. I wonder, what do they give me faster? So if you do standard, you get a Facebook channel. I don't really want to stream to Facebook. Okay, so no Twitch today. Treasuries are slower, but from most people I talk to, they are profitable. Yeah, Camel saying I'm genuinely impressed with people who can trade oil. I agree. I find it blows my mind that many of the people that pass the combines are doing it in oil, and I think that that's a part of why you end up with a lot of people that are going to go through their program and then bomb out later. You mean he's been down here for a long time, and I actually think that that's maybe in an okay spot to buy it. Oh, there's a Jim Dalton webinar today. That will be worth watching for sure. That's cool. The Asian markets are good for people that can't wake up in the morning. I mean, it's not going to be as good of a trade as this, but wow, they have so many. I would have to stop and start the stream, and then it would create two videos. We're already gonna get two videos today, so I'm not gonna fix it. We'll do it later. So another thing that's been on my mind, political wise, lately, is China. China really interests me, and the whole trade war thing kind of interests me. And I've been learning a little bit of Chinese, and I think someday, when their markets open up a little bit more, maybe we could trade Chinese bonds, and that would be really cool. But something I've been noticing a lot on Reddit is people talking about the Chinese cheating. So, like, there was this story the other day that saying that they they were at school, and the school saw that that kids were cheating on the test, and so they took a couple of measures to prevent the cheating, and like the whole city like had a riot because they stopped the cheating. And then I went into this thread, and there was so many comments about, oh yeah, we worked for this company that was sending plastic over to China to get, turned into some product or something, and they were selling the material and then making the product with something less that didn't meet the standards and wasn't safe. And then when we confronted them about it, they were just like, they thought that was like normal, okay thing to do, and they were shocked that the U.S. business was upset about it. And so ever since that story, now everywhere I go on Reddit, when I see people talking about China, they talk about how China likes to cheat. And whenever I see something like that consistent, I wonder if it's really an organic thing or not. You know? You know what I mean? I'm playing games, sitting here playing games on my phone more than I'm watching the Dom. Yeah. Well, they did break out of that zipper for a tick, and then they went right back into the top of it. So, I mean, that's pretty awful. And we are seeing some delta long though, and we are seeing the bids stacking a little bit. So they are kind of buying, and there's not really a whole lot above us to stop things. So would not be surprised if we get a push to like 20. But what we could also see happen is a bunch of people jump on here and then not go anywhere and then have to puke. You know? Iger says if we get above 05, we could get a little bit of a chase. Oh, Camel's been trading for 3 years in ZB. That's good to know. In detailed letters, friends recall years ago conversations with Blasey Ford about alleged attack. Okay, let's read this. This might be significant. 3 friends and her husband have given attorneys detailed letters. And they're claiming they took place before Donald Trump announced Kavanaugh as his nominee. In one place they mentioned the name.
Just picking up on some comments now from the Irish finance minister saying thinks the Irish economy would grow at a significantly slower rate next year in the event of no deal Brexit.
Some people still talking about Avenatti might release something today. We'll see. Polls are now saying that more people believe the accuser, which I'm skeptical of, but probably doesn't matter because there's so much propaganda out there that affects people's opinion. I don't know if it means.
Just in European news,
You can't consider that politically if you're Republicans.
budget targets will be held on Thursday at 6 p.m. at 1600 GMT. More from the Irish finance minister saying no deal Brexit would be a very significant shock to the Irish economy. He is stating the obvious here with these comments. More now from UK PM May saying confident that Britain will get a Brexit deal with the EU. More from the Irish finance minister saying no deal Brexit could cost Ireland 3 or 3.5% GDP growth points over this year afterward.
Seeing more about this, so they are kind of saying, okay, so she told more than just her therapist in these letters. I kind of question how reliable is that? Like, I guess I need to read the actual letters now. Okay, so the first two are people where she's saying that after 2016, and they're claiming that she told them it was Brett Kavanaugh assaulted her during that time. Um, the other two, I mean, all of these are recent, like within the past 4 years. Two of them, they don't actually mention the name, just that she says that she was assaulted when she was younger. Um, one is from her husband. One is from her friend. Um, and they're both saying like she wasn't really talking about it until Trump was about to appoint SCOTUS justices, and then she said, "Oh, the guy assaulted me, and I think that he might be appointed to the court." So I don't know if these. I think the problem with these is that they're about equal in weight to her telling her therapist. They're around the same time and so forth, and so I'm not so sure it changes much. Other than that, it just adds more weight to that she told people like she did to the therapist. So I'm just saying, if the her telling her therapist about it, even though they didn't name a name, if that's not convincing evidence, then these wouldn't be either. But there's open question as to whether or not that is or isn't. I don't think it would hold up in a court of law. Or I don't think it would be enough in a court of law to get a conviction, but it could potentially help her case for sure. Although I think the bigger question is if does she testify on Thursday, because they're kind of making it sound like she's not going to. If she doesn't testify on Thursday, then he's definitely going to get
Just hearing from President Trump now saying willing to meet Venezuela Maduro. Every option is still on the table. Just Trump confirming what we heard earlier, really. He says he will be meeting with North Korea's Kim in the very near future.
Just a bit of energy company energy news from North Sea. Scotland's Unites have accepted revised pay offer by Total of some 60% in a 93% disruption that we've seen, and the union Total.
The whole thing is ridiculous. Brett Kavanaugh assaulted me too. Well, so here's the problem. When we talk about evidence, there's no physical evidence that an assault happened. Obviously not. It happened 35 years ago, right? When Bill Clinton did what he did to Monica Lewinsky, she had a dress that had his jizz on it, right? That they could do DNA tests on. Well, they're buying it. I think they might actually break out here. I don't think I'd want to take that, but wow, there's somebody really selling it there too. Now, so there's no physical evidence, but witness testimony is admissible at trial, right? Problem: the only person that is testifying as a primary witness is her. All of the other people that she says were at the party say that didn't happen, or they don't remember being at a party. Been a while since I heard someone say jizz. And then this is the same for the second person, right? They went through and they tried to find people that, because this was supposedly a big college party that they were at, and they haven't found a person that specifically recalls being at that party and saying, oh yeah, that was Brett that did that, right? So I think that is their most damaging piece right now. If she had had a girlfriend at that party that said, yes, I remember that, and she disappeared and then told me later or something like that, then it would have been a different thing. But like or if they just said, oh yeah, I remember that party, but I don't remember anything unusual about it happening, and I don't remember when she left or something, then it would kind of add the possibility of like, okay, well, maybe there was a party and an assault did happen and they just didn't know that the assault happened, right? But they're saying, I don't even remember the party. And I think that that's the biggest problem with her claim. So, but there is this thing that she now has 5 people, her therapist, her husband, and 3 friends who are all claiming that she told them about being assaulted before Brett Kavanaugh was nominated to be a nominee, although these were all around the time that Donald Trump was president, okay? So, assuming that these people aren't just outright lying, which, you know, I'm going to say they're putting it in the record under penalty of perjury and whatever. So I think that you have to accept them as evidence that she believes that she was assaulted. Like that's my take off of it. She believes that she was assaulted. Now, was it really Brett Kavanaugh? Was what happened really assault? That's kind of the question.
Uncertainty over what the future holds.
I still kind of think that, especially when people are drunk,
The UK can and will get a good deal.
you can kind of get this situation where there's miscommunication.
Will be good for
You know,
both sides.
doesn't necessarily make what happened okay, but you know, sometimes people miscommunicate. Maybe sometimes you think that somebody is having fun and enjoying roughhousing with you or whatever, and they're really not. And then afterwards, it's assault. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like it's one thing if you do something and they're like, stop, this is not okay, no, yada yada yada. And there's obviously some people will, when you're horsing around, they might say things like that. Or, you know, I hear that from my kids all the time, and they're just playing around, right? But then there's like the okay, I'm serious now, stop, sort of a thing, right? And if you're given that, and then they continue, and then they really push it, then it could be considered assault. But what it sounds like to me was it was kind of like they were horsing around. She wasn't into it. They decide, okay, she's not into it. We'll roughhouse with each other instead. Right. So is that really assault? It's kind of, you know, I think you're kind of getting into a gray area there. A gray area in as much that if we were to say, okay, it happened, and Brett acknowledges that there was a party and that something did happen, and the other guy in the room acknowledges that there was a party and that something happened, and this had gone to court like way back when it happened, like the week after it happened, I think you would still have a hard time getting a conviction. Yep. Okay, so that's you bring up another interesting thing that I'm noticing, Uzi. So Uzi said some, if not all, of these accusers come from an academic background of sociology and psychology. One of them, at least, is a confirmed anti-Trump activist. So something I keep hearing is people in psychology are known to be a little crazy, and that's why they go into psychology, is because they're hoping that it will help them work through their own issues. Academic realms of sociology and psychology are the place where the redefinition of words and revisionist history hang out together. But this idea that psychology is filled with a lot of crazy people is something that I've never heard before, and now all of a sudden I'm hearing it a lot, which I find kind of interesting. But I think you bring up a good point here, which is that there is such a thing as false memories. And I think that the whole situational setup here makes it very, very likely that this could be a false memory. You know? Like, she could be, maybe those people were all together at a party at one time, but it wasn't a party anything like what she describes, and maybe there was a situation where she was roughhousing with somebody, but it wasn't really assault, or it wasn't Brett, or who, and she could, years after the fact, because we don't know. We don't have any record of her saying anything about it for like 30 years, right? So now you're remembering some reliable memory. It just isn't. Something 30 years later. That's not asking a chick out more than once today can be misconstrued as, it would be considered sexual harassment, not assault, but yes. Why is that? Because of sociology and psychology. Yeah, it's kind of... Well, I don't think it's just because of sociology and psychology. There was many high-profile... Well, I don't know if they were high-profile, but lots of money involved. Like sexual harassment suits at companies during the 90s and things like that kind of changed things around. And then it became... then sociology and psychology turned it into a campaign issue, right? And it only happened in the last, around 2014, 2015, or whenever that was. And I believe that was likely a intentional political strategy by somebody on the Democrat side. because it happened all at once. Around the time that Ferguson happened was kind of when all this stuff came about, right? So, I don't know. That's why I kind of think that what you're gonna have happen is she's gonna go and testify, and then he's gonna go and testify, and I just based on the way that things are going, and he knows where he was when, and he wasn't, he was a virgin at the time, and by according to him at least, and I don't think that you would stand a chance.
May says things that make Britain a good place to invest aren't going to change after Brexit.
Yeah, I don't think that you would stand a chance of prosecuting this in a courtroom. No way. Should we hold 1980s Kavanaugh to the same standard? Yeah. Well, I don't know if that... So I agree with you, but as a political argument, it's not a very convincing one, because to the activists, that's the whole problem, was that these things were considered okay back then, and they really shouldn't be, and this is evidence of systemic oppression against women, instead of people taking a step back and saying, okay. Or maybe sometimes people just see situations differently, and there's miscommunication about what's going on.
Just hearing some comments from a Canadian envoy at the event saying that auto tariffs would change relationship with the US.
And so before, we weren't very cautious about that sort of thing, and we should have been. And now you absolutely have to be cautious about that sort of a thing. So I wouldn't, if a girl is not in a relationship with you, I wouldn't be touching them any more than their shoulder. A shoulder touch or a hug can be considered as a sexual assault today. I don't, maybe not, but yeah. So then can we hold people responsible for things that weren't crimes or unethical at the time but are today? I don't think we should, but there are a lot of people out there that do think that we should. The social justice warriors think that we should. The social justice warriors want all of these crimes of the past to be prosecuted in the daylight and people held accountable to it, to set an example, right? Which is kind of messed up, but that's just... Okay, so there's the E-mini. There's a little bit of buying there in the E-mini. I think I might want to take it here. I'm a little concerned about what happens when we get back into this range right here. Around 29, 25 maybe. See, there's a 700. That could be a buy right there. Nope, I'm missing it. I think even if I had not canceled that, I don't think I would have gotten filled there. So this is sweeping around here a little bit too much. Let's see. Okay, now you would have been filled. That's why I can't stand in opposition to them. Social norms change. We can't hold people responsible for the past, especially if they were diligent in changing with social norms. I'm totally with you. And honestly, I think that some of the social norms that people are trying to push are not realistic. Because the social norm that I see today is that everybody has to think the way that I think, and everybody has to behave the way that I think that they should behave. And that's just not people. People make mistakes and misunderstand each other and have different viewpoints and things, and they need to be given some leeway, you know? Because it can't be like you make one misstep and all of a sudden your life is over. It's just not okay to me. Okay, so this definitely looks good for a long, but I'm not so sure about my risk now, so. Notice now this is kind of interesting that the treasuries are still iceberging here, though. That also gives me a little pause. Moral Puritans and authoritarians. Well, the thing that irks me about it is that it doesn't seem to me that these people are really in it about the social change. They're in it about the politics, because there's people on the Democrat side that are in office today that have done much worse things. Okay, Keith Ellison beat the crap out of that girl, and they have documented medical evidence that this happened. Okay, and nobody's saying jack shit about it. So it's total hypocrisy, right? They're only doing it because the only reason this happens is because Republicans have always held them up as the moral party, moral Christian people. And so because of that, if you've done something that is immoral, like sexual impropriety, then that makes you look really bad because you're a hypocrite, and because conservatives are concerned when they see somebody has done something wrong like that. And that's why they do it. Only reason that they do it. Otherwise, because if it's a Democrat, they don't care. So, yeah, that's 100% political. Man, there's a lot of volume there now, and the Treasuries being absorbed. I'm a little about this because I kind of want to go long here in the E-mini still, but it's kind of still a little fuzzy to me here. You're seeing some spots and they've been good for a few, but only for a few, and it's still like within the first 10 minutes, and so yeah. I read an article today about Ellison, and I find it fascinating how they tiptoe around his allegations but rammed headfirst into Kavanaugh's guilt. Exactly. And you got to remember that this has been the Democrat playbook for a long time, because they did this. This isn't even the first time that they've done this sort of a thing during a Supreme Court justice nomination process. It's like the third time, apparently. I'm not too familiar with the first case, but then we've all heard a little bit about the Anita Hill controversy. You see, the way that it's going, it makes it look like in the E-mini, it makes it look like you could buy it here, but it also, these sellers are not like giving up. Okay, so that time the buyers won a good victory there, but it was only 600, so it's not like the end of the world for sellers, right? And they could come back and push back through that easily, and then they could be taking a look at the lows. And because the Treasuries continue to absorb their 18.5, just tons of volume up here at the top. I'm really. Oh dear. No. Okay, they come back. We're fine. That kind of makes me wonder. So which connection was that, by the way? Primary connection. Oh, Coinbase. It was Coinbase. That's why. See, I wanted to buy it it was the 23, right? See, like there it was, it went higher, and they didn't actually make a higher high.
From the Indian government taking tariff measures, custom duty. Also includes now at these tariffs from India, 20% customs duty is a prior effect on.
So there was a sell there, and they're actually back up to the high. That's curious to me. And see if more sells come in, and if we start falling down in delta, they might actually push down to the lows and break it. Take a piker one lot short at 24.75. Yeah, it was technically an up open. So, like I wanted to take it long there, and now I'm actually kind of thinking about taking it short, but the treasuries are not giving us a direction. Like, right, they have it like zero trend. We've got icebergs on both sides. I don't think that this really qualifies for the trade that I've been taking in the E-mini that I've been making money on. So I think it's better that I step aside here. We are seeing really significant absorption up here in treasuries, though. I'm wondering if they'll actually be able to break out. Yeah, you really could have gotten a one tick on both sides. Now I should come in here. I just wonder if I don't know. So let's come back in here. What do we say? Oh yeah, nothing new on that.
Well, from President Trump.
They can sell through this iceberg here now. I mean, the E-mini is looking a little bit more positive than it did. You're not seeing the volume yet, but they're pushing up, and so the E-mini is pushing down. McConnell is evil. This is another thing I think is really funny about Democrats is that Republicans tend to think that Democrats are stupid, crazy. Democrats tend to think that Republicans are evil. And I think my experience in life tells me that is usually not the case. They have a view about something, and they view it a certain way, and they're doing everything they can to support their view, not that they're evil.
Inquiries. Euro dollar at 117.39. So 645 million. 117.45. A dollar yen at 113.8.
Mm. 48% of white evangelical Christians said he should be confirmed even if true. That's a lot. Okay, they broke through that iceberg there.
Some chatter.
E-mini is moving up.
National paper moving up on takeover chatter.
See here in the E-mini. So if I had taken that long, and now we're seeing 700 and we're on the other side of this range, I think I would be taking it off. So now I'm looking at it like, oh, actually, you know what? There wasn't enough reward in here to have actually justified taking that risk. I mean, maybe you take it. I don't know. I'm glad that I didn't take a trade there, even if it breaks out and really pushes up. Keep our powder dry, right?
The geopolitical trade news. US-Japan trading autos.
Of course.
Just remind President Trump is expected to Japanese Abe today. As President Trump said, to recognize the Japan trade talk framework.
Yeah, they broke through the iceberg, and now, well, guess what? They're back up. This is why you don't trade it when it does that, guys. So you think, oh man, if they break through this iceberg and then some crazy stuff could happen, and then they break through the iceberg and they just feed it and it goes back up. And then you think, oh, okay, it's not, I was wrong. It's going to move up now. And so you buy 19, and then they hit into 18.5 again. Oh, look, you lost a tick. You're going to sell 18? You can see these 50 orders they went through. Those are people that just lost money. They lost a tick, but still. Those are robots losing money.
For me, message saying Prime Minister May's low tax rate change.
Here the E-mini, they made a run, but it was just a super tiny one, and now they're struggling.
In 10 minutes' time, getting the US new homes for August expected at 0.63 million, or 0.627 million, a range of 0.608 million to 0.655 million. The month-to-month change expected at 0.5%, of 10%, -3 to 2.9%. Looking at last month's results as well, the breakdown in the Northeast was down 52.3%, Midwest was up 9.9%, with the South down 3.3% and 0.9%. The new home supply was at 5.9 months current pace, while the homes for sale at the end of July was at 0.309 million units, and the median sales price was at 328,700, 8% previously. Up on a note now from it's for new roughly month. So month-to-month readings all the time. In the third quarter will likely lower.
Like, this has been so rangy going into this. I don't think I've ever seen it this bad. That I kind of wonder if there's even actually going to be opportunity when the FOMC happens. Significant sweep there. They are selling things now. I mean, I'm not going to be taking a trade, but you can see not so much in the 5-year hasn't come along, but they only take one or two. It would only take one or two more ticks to be down 17.5 and to start selling. Oh, you know what? We should cancel that. Yeah. But you have this issue where this is really big now. That when we started, I put it there because there was this and there was this, but now there's not, and I kind of wonder. You come down here and then bounce off of it. You know, maybe if you went short, you could maybe get 4 ticks out of it, but I'm not going to risk it because there's a really good chance that we just stay in here, right? Does kind of depend on what the E-mini does. Oh, look at that. So, and here's another example of where you get screwed up is like there's a big sweep of some sort and it doesn't result in any kind of move, and so they immediately take it off. Definitely a range-bound market if I ever saw one.
The month-to-month at 0.5% expected. One minute.
Less than 20 seconds to the home sales.
10 seconds.
What are we
Home sales
expecting?
for August expected at 630,000.
630.
629 million, 0.629 million with 3.5% month-to-month change. Those new home sales
629,000.
0.629 million. Flow expected 0.63 million. Power advised at 0.608.
So very mild miss.
3.5%. Beat against expected 0.5 again. Power advised. We break down in the northeast they were up 47.8%. West up 2.7. South down 1.7 while the west were up 1. The new home supply 6.1 months worth current pace. The home for sales at the end of August was 0.3.
Nothing significant.
Feeling it's not really going to do anything.
At 1.9% from August.
They did hit into 17.5 there, but then of course it ticks back up and there's a big bid. The E-mini appears to be fading a little bit. This is kind of funny how much they want to hold the 18.5 here. How many ticks have we been in this range for now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's actually an 11 tick zipper that I would normally take short here, but because it's it's 15 ticks, you wouldn't take it, and because it's slow, you wouldn't take it. So
Bit of commodity news now. Comments from Russia's Novak that the oil output for September seen just over August level.
oh my gosh. Okay, so yesterday, I read this article. I think it was like on Newsweek or something, but it was highlighted to me on Facebook, where people are paying money to be tutored in video games. So like there are these pros out there, and you pay them like $15 an hour to tutor you on how to play the game. And so I'm like, well, that sounds fake. So I go around and try and
More from Novak saying Russia
oh,
can
hold on.
increase output.
Yeah. Anyways, so I go looking around, and there's a website for it. It's called gamersensei.com. You $15 an hour, and there's different games you can pick for different experts and stuff. And now I'm getting advertisements for Gamers for Gamer Sensei.
Shareholders.
Man, that the E-mini really came down and is going for new lows there, isn't it?
Connection lost.
Something going down on GDAX.
From the tech and non-open capacity to end this year.
Something happening in the Bitcoin market, because it is oh yeah. So not a ton of volume, but it is selling. Sold and they recovered. I don't know. Doesn't look good for them. Oh, hey, we broke a new high. I didn't realize that. The E-mini did go lower, so that makes sense. Could have sold it when it was up here. Could have done it at 20. You could have done it right here.
Russian energy ministry prices at $70 per barrel.
And when it was up here,
High oil prices.
if we come back a little bit, what's the volume telling you? Yeah, maybe here. Maybe you could have taken it when it started going through here. Still not a worthwhile trade. And the cryptos
Now, Ireland's
did go
dollar
down, but they've recovered.
was set to be shortlisted by the ECB, the bank supervision arm.
So the futures, that was kind of more adjusting. But when you look at it on here, you get that. So yeah, that kind of maybe could be a setup for later today, though. We kind of got to see. I think that there is a decent chance that you see.
Chairman Brady, the House is expected to vote Friday on making Trump individual tax cuts permanent.
There's a good chance that Bitcoin reacts to the FOMC afterwards. I mean, we've seen this before where after FOMC, Bitcoin makes moves. Definitely. And for instance, when Bitcoin in December, right, the futures went live, and then we had FOMC day, and then it started going down. So there are definitely some people trading it for like, they're trading Bitcoin against central banks. And if central banks are being more hawkish, that kind of destroys that trade, right? And so they get out of Bitcoin. So that's interesting. The order from 16 moved up to 18.
Bit of equity news now. Fox intending to sell Sky stake Comcast 17 points, pence per share.
It's a small move. Shouldn't read too much into it. But it kind of makes me wonder if all of a sudden people are actually expecting the FOMC to be a little dovish. Because my guess is that there's going to be a little hawkish.
Getting comments now from the Prime Minister. President Trump handshake was quick but cordial. Nothing to read. Handshake. 10 minutes now until we get the weekly DOE M3 figures. That's running through the order. Crude expected to be a draw of 1.279 million. That's against a prior draw of 2.057 million. Distillate is expected to be a build of 0.752 million. That's against a prior build of 0.8 million. No expectations there, but a prior draw of 1.5 million. Gasoline expected to be a build of 0.78 million. It's a prior draw of 1.719 million. Refinery utilization expected to come in at minus 1% again. 2.2%. A quick look at APIs last night. That's crude coming in at an expected larger than a normal build of 0.903 million. Distillate a draw of 0.944 million. Cushing coming in a build of 0.26 million. And gasoline came in a build as well of 0.949. More from Trudeau, still negotiating with the US on NAFTA, looking towards getting a NAFTA deal. And that was Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau, still negotiating with you, getting a deal. More from Trudeau, saying as long as necessary and negotiate a new.
Well, this could get interesting now.
Nothing likely that the 30th September deadline will be met because low, 1 week low, sorry, 29.74.
I'm rooting for this guy that's buying at 18. I think I think he wants to get filled, and I think, I hope he does. Whoever's willing to make that kind of a trade, like, you go, dude. It's probably a bad idea, but you know what? You go for it.
Just over 3 minutes now until we get the weekly DOE inventory figures again. Crude expected to be a draw of 1.79 million. Distillate a build of 0.752 million. No expectations there, but a prior draw of 1.25 million. And gasoline expected to be a build of 0.78. Look at the API numbers again. That was crude came in a larger than expected build, 2.903 million. This had a draw of 0.944 million. Cushing came in a build at 0.26 million, while gasoline a build as well at 0.9. Getting some comments now. President Trump saying doing tougher Iran sanctions, tougher than ever before, will be ensuring that Iran will never acquire. Comments now from the US Speaker Paul Ryan assured him signing the spending deal, government shutdown on a It's more from Trump as well, saying that China has been attempting to intervention. It's more from Trump saying that China interfering in the elections want Trump to win, challenge China on trade. 1 minute. Ten seconds. Build of 1.852 million, distillate a draw of 2.241 million, Cushing a build of 4.461 million, gasoline a build of 1.53 million. That was crude coming in at a build of 1.852 million. Well, distillate again a draw of 2.241 million. Cushing came in at a build of 0.461 million, while gasoline a build 1.53 million. Final utilization at minus 5%. That was below expected, minus 1%. Looking production 7 point that point. That's more from Canadian President Trudeau. Trump has said no need for 232 tariffs with an NAFTA deal.
Okay, that tick was a little bit faster. You see? They gonna do it? You gotta be cautious because if they go through this and then they go through 17.5, you don't have a whole lot of liquidity until 14.5, and so you could get it pushed down. But I also think you could get a really quick move down and right back up into the range. You might even break 18, trade 17.5, maybe even 17 and immediately come back up. So I'm going to be cautious about this trade, but I do see the deltas are kind of turning around. Like, this does look like it could be good for short if they get past this big order.
I think Trump has to need to worry about tariffs. Tariffs will grab to confident. Money news now. Reuters sources North Carolina shut its gasoline from the Treasury after the free and bilateral deal. So yeah,
So are they negotiating again? I'm a little confused.
Fitch ratings as the leverage loans default consecutive months, saying thus far in September, potentially marking the second consecutive month with none. That's the first since the autumn of 2014.
Okay, they filled him. Yes, there is a webinar, so we'll do that today. And I'm going to stay here today. I should tell them that. Well, they have traded quite a bit into 17.5, but like they're still absorbing it, so I don't know. What are the chances that he was going to sell 18.5 and then take it off at 17.5 is kind of.
New government meeting needs to targets. Still work is done.
And really, the E-mini has been going back and forth across this like 3-point range, and that's kind of what's been influencing us going over here. And notice that now that we've done that bit, now a big order is showing up at 19. So yeah, I'm definitely not trades that I would want to take. We're actually like way past. I'm going to work from home today, so I'm not going to keep streaming through this, but I don't really see any comments. I see people come kind of leaving. So everybody's kind of quiet in Discord. So I'm just going to stop streaming and I will be back. Oh, wow. 13,000. I'm really glad that we got that. So we'll see if it keeps going, but I'm going to stop streaming because I need to start getting to work. So I will catch you guys at lunch for the FOMC